Good evening. Welcome to the Old Time Gospel Hour Facebook Live Sunday evening program. Good evening, Sister Christine Brew, Sister Terry Lane Cooper, Sister Reva Smith. Good evening, Sister Beverly Fuller. Good evening, Big Cousin Diane Adams. Good evening. Sister Ruth Miner, good evening. Brother Yvester and Sister Tibby Floyd, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Brother Ronald, Sister Barbara Whitehead. Good evening, Big Cousin Alice Gayfield. Good evening. Also, good evening out there to the followers of the Old Time Gospel Hour and our YouTube listeners. Sister Gloria Arrington, Sylvester William and Annie Rice, Brother Brian and Sister Vanessa Tate, Brother Terrell Lane, Brother Robert and Sister Gail Buchanan, Sister Juanice Mays, Brother Tony and Sister Vanessa Fitzpatrick. Good evening. Sometimes I say I won't, sometimes I say I won't, but the Spirit moves and I, the Spirit moves and I, I know God heals the sick, I know He raised the dead, I know He saved my life, with the truth that the preacher said, I know He saved my soul, I know He made me whole. I've been born again, I've been born again. Good evening. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. Brother Ron and Sister Brenda McGee, good evening. Good evening. Little cousins Robert and Robin Ford, good evening. Sister Denise Minor, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Amen, amen, trio there. The Lord's Prayer, Brother Anton Feeman, Brother Mario Johnson, and the late Brother Reggie Mays at Circle of Light. And our opening up song, I Have Got to Tell It, Affinity and the Voices of Love, with Sister Florence Lachey leading. And that was professionally recording. Amen. Amen. Good evening. Good evening. Let me see. Little cousin Tenoria Gayfield. Good evening. Minister of Music, Brother Sherman and Sister Mona Hawthorne. Miss Verl Howard, good evening, good evening. Thank you, Miss Verl. Good evening, good evening.
And the Lord day, another day. And the Lord has kept me, and the Lord has kept me. Another day, another day. And the Lord has kept me, and the Lord has kept me. Oh, He has kept me from all evil. My mind stayed on Jesus. Another day, 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 another day. And the Lord has kept me.
Amen. Amen. Another day that the Lord has kept me. The Cardwell family. Back in the day, Sister Sharon Cardwell leading Rising Star. Good evening, Brother Melvin Evans. Good evening, Brother Jimmy Petty. Sister Deborah Long, little cousin, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Brother Edwin Whitehead, good evening, good evening. Sister Bridget Silas, good evening, good evening. Good evening.
Sometimes the road gets rough. Sometimes the road gets rough. Said the going gets tough. And the going gets tough. Said I want to see. I want to see His face in that new Jerusalem. I said I want to see. I want to see His face. Lord, I got to see. I want to see His face. Way over yonder. Way over yonder. We can make it. We can make it by faith. Sometimes the road gets rough. Sometimes the road gets rough. Said the going gets tough. And the going gets tough. Said I want to see. I want to see His face in that new Jerusalem. I said I want to see. I want to see His face. Lord, I want to see. I want to see His face. Way over yonder. Way over yonder. We can make it. We can make it by faith. Sometimes the road gets rough. Sometimes the road gets rough. And the going gets tough. And the going gets tough. I said I want there. Come on and go. I'm gonna sing and shout. Come on and go. Nobody out there come on and go. Can turn me out. Come on and go. Say most of all, come on and go. Most of all, come on and go. I wanna see that man. Come on and go. That man named Jesus. Come on and go. Man who save me. Come on and go. Yes, you will. Come on and go. Say come on and go. Come on and go. Won't you come on and go? Then I want to see. I want to see his face. Then I got to see. I want to see his face. Lord, I want to see. I want to see his face. In that new Jerusalem. Amen. Come on and go. 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 Won't you come on and go? Come on and go. Come on and go. Come on and go. Won't you come on and go? Come on and go. Come on and go. Come on and go. Won't you come on and go? I want to see his face. I want to see his face. I want to see his face. In the new Jerusalem.
Amen. Amen. I want to see his face in that new Jerusalem. That was the Voices of Unity with Sister Alyssa McBain leading at Circle of Light. Amen. Good evening, Sister Maxine Fields. Sister Beverly Haynes. Good evening, Sister Marcia Whitehead. Good evening. Sister Edna Randall Lane. Good evening, Sister Geraldine Miller. Good evening. Hey, my little niece, Sister Elizabeth Davis. Good evening. Good evening, Sister Freddie Logan. Good evening. Good evening. looking for my Jesus way down on my knees. Amen. Spiritual singers, the spiritual singers, with Sister Latanya Kenner leading at Rising Star. Amen. Good evening, Sister Beverly Brown. Hi, Jalen. Hi, Jalen. Good evening. Good evening, Granny Mae. Good evening. Good evening, Brother Frank and Sister Shirley Gardner. Good evening. Brother Aaron and Sister Louise Hall. Good evening. Good evening.
I stretch my hand to thee, no other help I know, and if thou withdraw thyself from me, will tell me whether shall I go, Lord, I go, time, Father. Oh, I stretch my hand to thee, no other help I know, and if thou withdraw thyself from me, will tell me whether shall I go, Lord, I go. Oh, I knew it was Jesus. I know it was Jesus. That saved my soul. That saved my soul. Well, I knew it was Jesus. I know it was Jesus. That made me whole. That made me whole. Well, I know it was Jesus. I know it was Jesus. Lord, it saved my soul. Well, I know it was Jesus. Lord, I know it was Jesus. I tell you, he made me. Here's what he done. He picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on solid ground. Yes, I know it was Jesus. Yes, I know it was Jesus. Wonder, do you know? I know it was Jesus. Wonder, do you know the Lord? I know it was Jesus. Somebody say he's a well, I know it. I know it was Jesus. Somebody found out he's a doctor in the sick room. I know it was Jesus. Somebody say he's a mighty good doctor. I know it was Jesus. And it wasn't nobody but Jesus. I know it was Jesus.
Good. All right. I know it was Jesus that saved my soul. That was the Young Strivers with Brother Jamonde Johnson leading at Circle of Light. Amen. Amen. Good evening, Brother Walter and Sister Audrey Griffin. Good evening, Big Sister Ruthie Williams. Good evening. Sister Barbara Williams. Good evening, Brother Henry Mason. Good evening. never say no. Amen. Vocal number 2 choir with Sister Tina Willingham leading at Rising Star. Amen. Good evening. Good evening, Sister Robin Weems. Good evening, Brother Maurice, Sister Florence Lawrence, Brother Dwayne, and Sister Marsha Harris. Good evening. Good evening. Sister Erica Gordon Walker. Good evening. Sister Stephanie Cheers Rivers. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Brother Henry Mason. Good evening, Sister Lauren Cheers Parnell. Sister Bobby May Cheers. Good evening. Good evening. All right, I'm going to read the announcements here. Thank you so much for your donations to this program. They are greatly appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy birthdays going out today. My big sister, Sister Cora Robinson, Sunday, June the 12th. Happy birthday, big sister. Monday, June the 13th. Sister Charlotta Hill and Brother Robert Ford. Amen. Wednesday, June the 16th. Brother Dan Redden Jr. And Friday, June the 17th, Sister Shirley Keys. Amen, amen. We are sending prayers out to Brother Walter and Sister Audrey Griffin, Sister Regina Laddier, Sister Marilyn Stuckey, Brother Edwin Whitehead, Sister Marjorie Hutchinson, Brother Madi Reed, Brother Alfred Pickens, Brother Pete Williams, Sister Gloria Arrington, Brother Theron Smith, Sister Gracie Ann Brew, Sister Emma Dyson, Sister Deborah Hubbard, Sister Olivia Rucker, Sister Yasmin Arrington, Sister Marilyn West, Sister Gloria Lewis, Brother Andrew Robertson, Vivian Daly, Brandon Taylor, Maurice Washington, Emmanuel Reed. Mr. Pat Moffitt is out of the hospital and he is at home. Thank you. His family would like to thank you for your prayers for him. He is doing much better. Mr. Lee Jensen, Miss Leanna Baker, Mr. Homer Miner, Eric Ruffin, all of the sick and confined, the homeless, COVID patients, and especially going out to the bereaved families. Also, we're praying for each other and this whole world. Amen. Sister Deborah Hubbard is in the Stonebridge Senior Living Facility, 2963 Doddridge Avenue, Maryland Heights, Missouri, 63043. And she's in room 117. Sister Olivia Rucker is in the Delmar Gardens North, 4401 Parker Road, Florissant, Missouri, 63033. And she's in room 303. The funeral of Monica Neal will be Saturday, June 18th, 2022. At Ferguson Heights Church of Christ, 1239 North Elizabeth, Ferguson, Missouri, 63135. Visitation will start at 10 a.m. and the service will start at 11 a.m. She is the daughter of the late Stephen and Sherelle Turner, the granddaughter of the late Brother Lehman Sr. and Sister Rose Turner. She is the sister of Melanie Allgood, Kimberly Neal, Nicole Turner, Alexandria Turner, and Anthony Neal. She is the niece of Deacon Lehman Turner Jr., Sister Beverly Brown, Derek Turner, and Kevin Turner. The funeral of Brother Willie James Robinson will be Friday, June 24th, 2022 at 10 a.m. at Serenity Memorial Chapel. He is the son of Sister Lula Mae Robinson and the late Brother L.C. Robinson, the father of James Jatara, Brother Jamel, and Brother Jamal Williams, the brother of Sister Cora Robinson, Sister Ruthie Williams, Brother Frank Robinson, Sister Pearlina Westbrook, Sister Gurnice Gayfield, Brother Percy Sherman, and Sister Dorothy Robinson, the late Brother Kenneth, and the late Brother Otis Robinson. The visitation of Sister Bernice Williams will be Sunday, June the 26th, 2022, from 3 to 6 p.m. at Granbury Mortuary, 8806 Jennings Station Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63136. The funeral will be Monday, June the 27th, 2022, at 12 noon at the Circle of Light Church, 8959 Anetta Street, St. Louis, Missouri, 63147. She is the mother of Reginald, Jeffrey, Charles, Mark, Matthew, Kenneth, and Jason. And she is the sister of Brother Melvin King and others. If you need legal help, call Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, 314-361-8834, or call the eviction hotline, 314-534-4200. If you would like to schedule payment arrangements with your landlord or a mediation between yourself and your landlord, call St. Louis City Resolution Center, 314-255-7440, or St. Louis County Mediation Project, 314-833-0226. And as always, thank you for sharing and letting others know about the Old Time Gospel Hour on Facebook Live. And thank you for letting them know about YouTube, the pre-recorded programs on YouTube. Thank you so much. Also, we have a sermon special request for third Sunday, next Sunday. Special request on the third Sunday sermon. Amen. Amen. All right. Sister Karen Sanford, good evening. Good evening.
Time is filled with swift transition. Oh, not of earth unmoved can stand. Build your hopes on things eternal. Well, hold to God's unchanging hand. Well, time
Amen. Amen. Hold to his hand, God's unchanging hand. Amen. Amen. And that was a duet, husband and wife of Sister Juanice Mays and the late brother Reggie Mays at Circle of Light. Amen. Good evening, Brother Willie, Sister Mardell Jefferson. Good evening. Good evening, little sisters. Sister Latanya Kenner, Sister Tiny. Good evening. Good evening. The young adult choir, junior, intermediate, and young adult choir. Sister Martha Lockett, this joy I have, the world didn't give it to me. Nobody but Jesus. Amen. Rising star. Amen.
And the Lord to save my soul, Lord, 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 joy and sorrow, He's hope for tomorrow, I know 3 words that were given by a preacher that the greatest has ever been told. Lord, and hope for tomorrow.
mercy. Lord, have mercy. Amen. The Peace Seekers with Brother Robert Thomas Jr. leading at Circle of Light. Amen. Amen. Brother Ron and Sister Brenda McGee, good evening. Sister Tasha Cotton, good evening. Amen. Amen. We're going to sing a little while. Amen. While I have a chance to sing. And that was the Golden Stars with Brother Robert Ford leading at Rising Star. Amen. Amen. Love it. Love it. Love that song. Amen. Amen. This is the end of the program. I hope everybody enjoyed the program this evening. Tune in again Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 8 p.m. For some more good old gospel singing. That was the Golden Stars that night that sang that. If you hear Brother White, it's the Golden Stars. If you don't hear Brother White, it's vocal number 2. But this particular night, he sang that with the Golden Stars. Amen. Amen. All right. And yes, he does. He does sing that with vocal number 2. And I do love to hear vocal number 2, him singing that with vocal number 2. Amen. Amen. All right. So, as I said, I hope everybody enjoyed the program. And tune in again Wednesday, 6:30 to 8 p.m. Wednesday. Remember who we are praying for. We are praying for each other. We're praying for this whole world, praying for our sick. So keep praying. God, he is in the blessing business. Amen. Amen. So thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless.